Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to NEOS Academy. Today's Academy is going to be on time, invoicing, billing, and payments. I'm Pam Hodge. I'm your host today. We have Dawn, who is our QA and success. Customer customer service trainer. And then we have Miss Raina, who is our customer support engineer. Raina will finish out our webinar, and Miss Dawn will be rapid firing answering any questions. Our webinar today is geared to firms who are using NEOS to track your time, to create your invoices, and to track payments that are coming in and out of NEOS. All right. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and get started with the webinar. If anybody has any questions, remember that you have the Q&A down below and you can put any questions that you have there. Okay, as always, once we start anything with NEOS, we're going to start with permissions. So there are several permissions that we want to set up when it comes to time and billing. So you're going to go to settings. You're going to go to firm preferences. So when you go to firm preferences, you want to go to time and billing. The time and billing section will allow you to set up for the NEOS to automatically track your time. So if you want the timekeeper to automatically pop up for you, you're going to enable your time tracking. You want to enable time description and memo sync. Once we get into the invoicing, I'll come back here and talk about this, but this allows you to sync your time entries to your value tab. You have case types and staff. So you can specifically set forth what types of cases that you want to be able to track time on. And then if there's only specific staff people, you can choose which staff people are going to create your time entries. You have the ability to set up enable deletion of stale timers. So after so many days, NEOS would automatically purge any time entries that were just sitting there that had not been touched. If you leave this blank, it will always keep your time entries that are stale. For anything else, you can put in the number of days that you want NEOS to automatically delete those. The next, you have default time increments. Do you want NEOS to track your time, exact time, in 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes? You'll just come here and you're going to set this. I'm going to change mine to 6-minute increments. You have your time and value sync. Your time and value sync allows you to default your firm's name as the default provider. So once we start creating time entries, we'll come back and we'll talk about that. So it will automatically put your firm's name in the provider. And then you want your time, your default time to show time. If you are an insurance defense firm and you guys are going to export information out of NEOS into leads billing, you have to make sure that you're enabling the leads billing by clicking the checkbox here. You have the field to put in your leads firm ID. Here we have leads ID matter. So depending on which leads you're using, you can say, hey, use the NEOS case number that automatically generates when we're creating new cases. Or if you have specific labels that you want for your leads, you can use alternate case number 1 and alternate case number 2. So you get to choose which NEOS is going to pull in there. You have your client ID. So the client ID is when you're exporting out into leads billing, you have a choice that is it going to pull in the client ID, or do you need it to be your alternate case number 1 or 2? For firms who have division set up, you can choose your division name and then your division office. So if you're a firm that has multiple locations, you're able to delineate what office is tracking the time and submitting the invoices. Next, you can display times spent as decibels. So once we start creating, once we start creating time entries. We'll come back and we'll talk about, do you want the time to display in increments, or do you want it to show in real time? And then next we have trust. So if you want to enable trust setup, you turn that option on. And then we have invoicing, require time and value approval. Once we start entering the time and then we start creating the invoices, we'll talk about whether you would want to require any time and any value entries and any invoices to be approved before they go out the door. Once you set all these up, you're going to hit save. Once you hit save, it's going to save it for the whole entire firm. The next thing that you want to do is you want to go to your staff profile. We always recommend that everybody set up staff groups. So you would go into your staff group and then go to time and billing. When you go to time and billing here, it is specific for a one person. So I'm using myself as an example. I want to be able to track time. If this is not turned on, that the staff can track time, they would not be able to create time entries. I automatically want my timekeeper to pop up, and I want it to auto prompt me my time. And then it's going to tell me how many hours a day that I work. I can come down to the bottom when it talks about the billing. I can set my default rate. And if you were an insurance defense firm where you guys have the leads timekeeper codes, you have to select what your timekeeper code is and then what your timekeeper ID is. Most likely for your timekeeper ID and leads, it's generally the person's initials. Once you have all that set up, you'll go up here and hit the save button. And then now, but last but not least, we're going to go to our settings. Oh, sorry. I want to go to my permissions. And once I go to my permissions, I need to make sure that I have a couple of things set up. So if I go to my case, I want to make sure that the end user has options to see the value tab and the time tab. They need to be able to look at it, be able to add and to modify. And then depending on the firm's preferences, are they able to delete these entries and stuff? So that is on the value tab and the time tab. All right. If it's going to be somebody that's going to be creating invoices and stuff like that, you need to make sure that they have the option to come here to the value tab and go to the accounting tab and be able to see, add, edit, and modify if as needed. And then invoicing. If they're going to be creating the invoices, they're going to have permissions for all of these. All right. Okay. So now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how you're going to set up what we call billing clients. Again, this statement here is very geared to the insurance defense firms. So for those firms who have State Farm, I'm using an example as your client. In order to set up a billing client, they have to be a provider in your system. So once you create your provider, you're going to open up your provider and you're going to come here to billing settings. When you go to billing settings, you want to enable that this company is or individual is a billing client. So you can enable it. And if they have a default rate, you can select that. Once you select the default rate, you can come down here to staff groups. So if I say that by default, all the attorneys are going to bill $250, but if it's a paralegal or litigation staff, their rates are different. I can go here to add exception rate. When I hit exception rate, I hit the drop down. These staff groups are set up in the permissions. So if I say that the litigation group only charges $150 an hour, I can default this to ensure that when we're creating our time entries, that it will reflect that essentially the attorneys are billing $250 and the litigation staff is billing $150. Once I set all those up, I'm going to hit save. Once I hit save, it will give me a billing client up here in green. Now that we have went over the permissions, before I dive into specifics and go into cases, creating entries and stuff like that, Don, Raina, are there any questions for the permissions and how to do the setups?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So now I am going to go into one of my cases. Once I find my case that I want to go into and I select my case, by default, it's going to automatically start my timer. If you notice, I was in here playing earlier. Oh, I'm gonna pause for a second. It looks like I see that there may be a question. Michelle, if there's a question, you need to put it in chat.
She says it's too long to put in chat.
Okay, so what I would recommend is after the webinar, contact our support team if you're having issues, setting this up, or you can contact me directly. Okay, so we're going to go into the case. So I'm in my case. As soon as when you have the automatic timer turned on, as soon as you go into case and you're doing something, your timer up here is going to start. If I veer off this case and go into another case, it's going to stop my timer and then it's going to start creating a new timer. So while I'm here, I can go up here and just put testing, and then I can hit save. That's just going to save that. If you notice that the timer is still up there working, so it's going to keep going over and over again. Okay. So if I go back to my other case, look here, it stopped at 1 minute 54 seconds. When I go back to the case, it automatically picks up my time. Once I'm finished doing my task, I can hit the red stop button. When I hit the red stop button, I'm going to get my entry that says save my time entry. It's going to automatically put my date and time, and it put the time I stopped my task. Here is my description. It's going to automatically put in my staff name because I'm the one creating it. It's going to put in the amount of time that I spent. And here, if I go to my task code, this is what's going to trigger this to make this a billable task. So if I say L110, once I choose L110, I get all these additional boxes here. So, and then it will start filling in my description for me, and then it makes it billable. So I can go here and add my additional notes onto my time entry. And then I can choose my activity code. L codes and A codes are set by the insurance commission. So these are universal task and activity codes that every single firm uses that does time and billing, that submits any information to the insurance company. As I'm creating this creating this time entry, I can add it as a note. When I hit add note and I hit save, it's not going to only save my time entry, but it will also create a note for me on the notes tab. All right. Notice that my default rate is 250. It shows the increments. So I spent 1 hour and 98 minutes. And then once I hit save, it is going to create my time entry for me. Once I create my time entry, it goes on my time tab. So when I go here to my time tab down here at the bottom, I can close this and it's going to show me all of the entries that I've had on this case. All right. If I need to go back in here and make any modifications, I can double click, go in here and add additional. once I add my additional information, or if I say, hey, I spent more time, I actually spent 2 hours and I need to change that, I can go right there to time spent. And as soon as I hit save, it is going to update my billing cycle. Okay. Now we're going to go back here to settings. So if I go on the black ribbon bar and I go to my firm preferences, and then I go over here to time and billing. So again, that's settings, firm preferences, and time and billing. Once I go over here to time and billing, remember when we talked about how it's going to default my increments to 1 minute? So this is where that information is being pulled from. Okay. And then once I choose that, it would set all of my future entries. So if I close this door and I go here and I hit add, when I hit add, it creates my new entry. I can use my timer up here, or I can do it directly off the case. This is where here, if I spent 1 hour and 30 minutes, I can type in 1.5. I can put in L120, and then I can choose my activity code and then go ahead and start entering in my description or what task that I'm doing. Once I finish that, again, it gives me my default rate. It's going to bill to the client, and then I hit save. Once I hit save, it's going to create those entries for me. Now, before we move too far, we want to talk about that billing client that we set up. So if I go back to the case tab under the general information, I can set that billing client here. So if I go here and hit the drop down, it's going to show me everybody who can be a billing client, and I'm going to choose State Farm Auto. Once I choose State Farm Auto, Neos knows to pull the rate specific to State Farm Auto. So once I hit save, and now I go back to my time tab and I hit my plus key. When I hit my plus key and I choose in however long that I have been working on it, and I choose my code, if you notice, my rate's 150 now versus the 300. So it automatically updated that rate for me. And then I could choose my activity code. And once I hit save, it gives me my entries. Now, if you notice, there is a status draft, approved, draft, approved. So when we were talking about in the beginning, when we were setting up settings where you want to either determine that you can approve each of your entries. So if you're one of those firms that want to approve all of your entries before you're going to bill them out, you would go here, choose each one of them, or you can select at the top and choose all of them. But since I already have 2 that's already been approved, I'm going to remove those. Once I select these entries, I can hit submit. So you have to submit them before you can approve them. So you can submit all of your entries for approval. How does this come into play? How is this beneficial for your firms? So whoever is approving all of your entries and stuff like that, you can create a report that says, hey, show me all time entries that have been submitted, so that he or she can sit there and approve them all at one time or review them all at once. So now that I have looked at each one of my entries and I'm like, okay, I'm good, they're good, I'm going to hit approve. So once I hit approve, it's going to tell me once I approve them, I cannot edit them, which is fine because I've already went in there, validated the information is true and correct, and I'm ready to move on. So once I hit approve, it is going to approve every single one of these entries. Now, as you're creating as you're creating time entries, I'm getting ahead of myself. As you're creating time entries, every single one of these entries get created as a value item. Each time entry goes from the time tab over to the value tab. Why does that happen? So when you're creating invoices, you're able to create an invoice based off of information that is appropriate in the case. So now that I'm on the value tab, I see all my entries, I see all my case expenses, all that. If I go to invoices, I can go here and I can create a new invoice. When I hit create new invoice, it's going to ask me, do you want to add your fees and your costs? That's going to be a yes. And then I hit this drop down and then I get to choose what client I'm billing this to. So once I hit State Farm and I hit save, it is going to create me an invoice for that one entry. Once I create my invoice, I can go up here to the three dots and I can download my invoice. Once I hit download invoice, it's going to ask me what format do I want this in. When I hit the drop down, I can choose Lead 98B. I can choose LSS. I can use PDF or Word. If you are a firm that does leads billing, these are the two options we currently have for leads exporting. And then you have the PDF and Word. So I'm going to choose PDF for now. Once I choose PDF, I get to say, hey, do I want it all in caps? Do I want staff hours summary? Do I want to include alternate case 1 or 2? Do I want to include the date of incident, include my docket number, or do I want to reset all of my columns? Once I hit download, it is going to download my invoice. Once my invoice has been downloaded, I can select here and I can open it up. So here it's going to give you your invoice. You can upload your firm logo. It's going to tell you who it's going to be billed to, who it's going to be from. Here it added that additional information based off of the selections that I had. It's going to show you my billable time. It's going to give you a total down here. And at the bottom, this is where it totals up your staff amount of time that they have spent on the case. All right. So we're going to use this same invoice. I am going to hit the three dots, but this time I'm going to download it in Leads 98. If you're not an insurance defense firm, you're not used to seeing this, it's going to look very different. It's essentially codes that get uploaded into the insurance company's billing platform. You can choose your date range. You can append that matter ID to each line, or you can use all caps. So once I hit download, it is going to download, and then it always opens up in a text format. This text format is what the insurance companies require. So if I bring this over here, it exports it out in the Leads 98 formatting. Then you would take this document and you would upload it to the insurance company's website. All right. So we've created our time entries that have turned them into the value entries. So I've showed you how to create invoices one at a time. Now, if I am billing for the entire company and I'm billing all at one time, I can go to the accounting tab. When I go to the accounting tab, it's going to give me all my checks, deposits, all that other stuff. Today, we're going to focus on invoices. So if I go here to invoices, I can generate invoices here. Once I hit generate invoices, I can say, hey, this is the date range that I want to see any invoices that are available from June the 8th through July the 8th. Now, why don't you see all the other stuff? Well, we don't see all the other stuff because all the other cases have already been invoiced. If I wanted to create an invoice for all of these, I can select this here and hit generate. But specifically, if I was looking to find invoices that I needed to send to State Farm, I can type in State Farm in the bill to client. And once I hit search, it's going to give me my options. Okay, which one do I want? So I want the State Farm auto. Once I select that, it's going to give me a list of any cases. Probably thinking, well, she just did one for State Farm, but I've already invoiced it. That's why it's not showing up. So if I hit this X key here, it's going to bring all these back. So I can select all of these cases and hit generate. When I hit generate, it is going to generate an invoice for all three of those cases, which it gives us all three cases up top. Now, Because we have it set where you have to approve your invoices before they go out, in order to send these out, I would select all of the items that I want to approve at the same time, and I am going to submit them. You have to submit them that says, hey, yeah, we're submitting them to be paid. Once you submit them, it's going to show pending. Once the final approval has went through, you can select those and hit approve. Again, once you approve it, it's going to say you no longer can edit it, which is fine. So once I approve it and it's done, now it's going to tell me that it is due. So when I'm looking at all these invoices as a whole, it's going to show me all my invoices that are currently due, any that are paid, any that are overdue. Once we receive payment for your invoices, you're going to come back here, find your invoice, and you're going to hit your three dots. When you hit your three dots, you can view and edit. Once you view and edit the invoice, this is where you can add a payment. So if my client has paid my entire invoice, I'm going to hit add payment. When I hit add payment, I can say, hey, it's going to come from operating, it's going to come from the trust account. How is it, or where is it going? So once I choose my account and I hit save, it's going to give me my verification that this invoice has been paid, and then my invoice changes to paid. Now, as I'm looking at all my invoices, I'm going to go back to the accounting. If I'm going here and I'm looking to see other items that may need to be paid, if I hit that three dots, I can hit pay. However, for any firm that does use LawPay, when you're creating your invoices, you can send the invoice out using LawPay. So all you would do is hit send LawPay. Once you hit send LawPay, you can decide what account that it's going to go into once they pay it. You can say, who is this going to? So I would choose myself, and then I can put a copy to anybody. So I'm going to, choose myself in both places. And then I can say update issue date. I can do the summary. And then once I hit send, it is going to send this invoice to the client with a link for them to pay their invoice. Okay. If anybody is interested into LawPay, contact our support guys and they can get you guys set up with speaking to somebody about setting up LawPay or your customer success manager. Okay, so let's go back here to our case where we're looking at the time entry. When I'm go here to the time entry, again, I hit the plus key and I fill in all the information. I'm starting over because all the other entries I've already locked and I can't make any modifications to them. So I'm choosing L110 and then I'm going to choose my activity. Now, let's say I'm here doing this and then I just hit save, but I'm like, hey, I need to come back and I'm looking at my value tab. When I look at my value tab and I'm looking at my time entry, when I double click here, it's going to show me the same thing that was on the on the time entry. Now, if I want to go update my entry because my description is wrong, if I enter my description here and I hit save, it is going to update the same entry on the time tab. So when I go back to the time tab, I open up that same entry. You see this is updated. This is updated because when we were back here in settings and I turned on this right here, enable time sync and memo sync, that's why they're syncing up together. All right. Any questions right now, ladies? No. Okay. All right. So we went over how to bulk bill. We've went over how to enter time entries. We went over how to make modifications to existing time entries. We've talked about creating invoices and being able to send them through LawPay, and how to go in here into Neos itself and create your payments. So we're going to go back here to our accounting tab, and let's just say when we're under invoices, we have multiples that we want to add time entries. So, I mean, to submit. So once I select all of these, I can hit submit, and then we can approve them, delete them now, or download them. All right, let me go to a couple of entries where all of these have been. All right, we got something going on here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm hitting on ones that we've already approved. Again, once you select them, you can hit submit. Once you submit them, you'll be able to approve them. All right. Look at you. All right. Now, here you have all of your invoices, all of your values. So what else is important? We may want to know how many billable hours that we have for the week, the month, so forth. So if I go over here to reports, and when I go to reports, I can go to the time tab, time value. So here I'm going to use the time tab. When I select on time tab, we have all these options of daily timesheets. So if I select daily timesheets by the staff, here I can choose, who the timekeeper is. So if I'm looking for myself, I can choose myself. I can choose specific cases. I can find date ranges. So if I wanted to see all my time entries and from, let's say, January 1 to present. So I'm going to take this to January 1 all the way through, we're not into August yet, through July the 8th. And then I'm going to hit OK. So when I go here and make those filters and I hit apply, once I hit apply, it is going to show me a list of all the cases that I have time on. Now, when I'm looking like this, it's like, hey, it doesn't give me my total number at the bottom. If I wanted specific totals and stuff like that, I can create advanced search reports that will give me the true information that I want in this. So to create an advanced search report, we're going to go up here to the all and go to advanced search. Once I select advanced search, this is where I'm going to say, hey, I want to look at the time table. So I go here and I'm going to time. Now, when I'm looking for advanced search, I need to tell it to go to the time tab. So that's why I'm saying search for time. Once I select yes, it is going to give me my setup. I always run a search before I do anything just to ensure that I have results. So when I'm looking at this, I want to be able to show me all of my time for a specific time range. So if I go back up here to edit filters, I'm looking for a specific time frame. So if I add conditions, and I'm going to say that the entry date is custom equal to, I'm going to do a custom because I may want to say, hey, I want to see everything that I've done today, yesterday, tomorrow, this week, this month, whatever. So if I say this and then month, it is going to show me all of my time entries and for this month. So right now, before I hit that filter, I see 841 entries. So as soon as I hit search, run search, it's going down to 9 entries. Now, I don't want to see everybody's. I only want to see mine. So now I'm going to go back to my filter. I'm going to add the condition group again. And when I hit this drop down, I'm going to say, I'm looking for the staff that's identified in the entry. So I'm going to say select staff. I'm going to say equals, and then I'm going to choose my name. Once I select my name, I can run search. So it's going to give me a list of 4 now. Once I have this report set up exactly how I want it, that's when I'm going to hit Save New Report. But before I do that, I may want to make some modifications to my columns down here. Once I choose columns, I can go here and say, the additional information that I want to see. So if I'm thinking about this, I'm like, hey, what do I want to see that's in the item? So I actually want to see maybe the description, or if I want to see whatever I'm looking for. So I can select here and say, hey, show me that information. Once I decide the information that I want to see in my columns, I bring it over here and I hit save. Once I have my filters at the top and I have my columns available at the bottom, I want to sum up here. So here, if I go the time spent, select the 3 dots, and I want to summarize it, and I can hit sum, it is going to give me a sum of my billable time for the week. Once I have this set up, I hit save report, and this is where I would name my report. I can either make it shared with other people or not shared with other people. And notice, because I've already have one already, it's not going to let me save it again. All right. So, okay, ladies, are there any open questions that we have right now? Anything that anybody wants me to go back over again? I know we're pretty early in the webinar because I want to make sure that everybody has their questions answered and stuff like that. If not, I'm going to have Miss Raina go over the support portal and talk about the knowledge base articles. She will call out some of the knowledge base articles that are linked to our webinar today.
No open questions at the moment.
Okay. All right, Miss Raina, I'm gonna hand it over to you. I know we're a little above time. I don't know if I'm talking really fast today, and if I am, please let me know, because we will have some time once Raina gets finished her part.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Pam. And you've been doing a wonderful job covering everything. So hi, I'm Raina. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please bear with me one moment. And here we are. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, wait, there we go. All right. So here we are with Neos open up here. You can see I'm on the dashboard page right now. I'm going to go ahead and cover the self-service portal, how to access it. So depending on where you are in Neos, you'll go ahead and the question mark in the upper right-hand corner, you'll go ahead and click on that. And depending on where you are in Neos, it will actually show you different articles based off of what section you are in Neos right now. So you see I'm on the accounting page, and it's showing me articles about connecting to the QuickBooks Integrator, and then it's also showing a video tutorial on the accounting webinar. If I go over to a case and I'm in the value tab and I click on the question mark up in the right-hand corner, it's going to show me articles about accessing the value tab and a video tutorial on adding a value to the case. If these are not what you're looking for and you want to dive a little bit deeper, you can go ahead and access the support portal by clicking on this blue button up here. That will take you to our portal, and as you can see, the What's New pane did pop out. You can just go ahead and click on this and it will collapse. So if you scroll down in the support portal here, you'll see some of our most viewed articles, but then you also have access to our service catalog here. So you can see there's a plethora of options you can choose from. Some of them have been updated with new icons as well. Right here, we do have the Neos application status page. So you can go here, you can access, the current system status, schedule releases, and more. And in there, you will be able to subscribe as well to get updates as to anything that any updates posted to this status page. Let's see. Over here, we also have NEOS University. There are a few different courses, and upon completing the courses, you do gain a Credly badge that you can link to your LinkedIn profile. And this is a very great resource, especially if you want to learn a little bit more about different things, and they have different levels that you can kind of go through. We also do have access to the Learning Hub here. This is a collection of videos regarding the different topics and different sections in NEOS. And if you do want to see a recording of this webinar that we're doing here right now, or any others that have been done in the past, you can go ahead and access them through the NEOS Academy, and you'll be able to review those there. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the self-service portal to kind of show you over here. We do have the ability to book trainings with some of our wonderful and talented trainers where they can work with you to teach you, the ins and outs of the program. Anything that you would like to cover, you can go ahead and book a training session, and they would be more than happy to, walk you through the functionality of NEOS and how it could work best for you and your firm. So the piece de resistance, I'm going to go ahead and share the knowledge base here. This opens up another window where you can go ahead and navigate through the different categories on the left-hand side. Today we went over accounting, so you can see all of the different articles we have on, accessing the accounting tab and the different things that you can do with invoices, with, posting to QuickBooks, etc. And then we also do have other categories like time tracking. We have some articles here as well, and the value tab. This has been asked in previous webinars if we can bookmark the articles. At this time, we do not have the ability to bookmark articles. However, if you do know that you want to reference accessing the value tab, right, you can actually grab the KB article number by going over to the article in the knowledge base and then clicking on the print icon in the top right corner. When you click on this, another window will open up to print it out. We're not going to actually print it out, but up in the address bar, you can see article ID equals 1251. So whenever you need to go back to accessing the value tab, if you jot down this article number, and let's say that we are back in time tracking and we're looking at editing time entries, but I know, oh wait, what was that thing about the value tab? Let me go ahead and type in 1251, press enter, and it will bring up that particular article again. Let's see, I believe that covers everything that I had for you regarding the self-service portal. So Pam, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and take it away.
Okay. I did notice there was a couple of people asking about how to, if you make a mistake, something you approve. Currently, what you would have to do is, let's just say that you need to go in and you need to delete an invoice because you need to make modifications to your time entries. So what you can do is you can go to the value tab and go to invoices. So let's just say you realize that there's like 5 or 6 entries in this invoice that's not appropriate, or you need to zero them out. You would go back here, hit the 3 dots, and once it's approved, you can't make any
Pam?
changes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
you're not sharing your screen.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Sorry,
Sorry
guys.
about that.
No, I'm glad you said that. Okay, everybody see my screen now?
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right. So let me go back. So you'll go to the value tab, you go to invoices, and you find the invoice that you're wanting to delete. So you'll select it. As soon as you select it, you get the delete button here. So this is where you can delete it. but if it hasn't been approved or anything like that, you're not going to be able to delete it. So once you're able to delete the invoice, then you'll be able to go back into the time entries and make those modifications. So you can either do it from the time tab, or you can do it from the time, sorry, you can do it from the value tab, or you can go to the time entry and do it. Because remember, you have that sync turned on. Once you have that sync turned on, you're able to go in there and update anything. And then once you update it, you would rerun your invoice again. It is on the product's roadmap to maybe in the future make some modifications and changes to that, but currently that's how you would have to delete your invoices, go make your changes, and then rerun your invoice again. All right, and just remember under reports, you have lots of reports that you guys can run when it comes to the time entries. You have a variation of anything that you want to see, you know, time entries by the staff again. So if you go to the staff, you can run all of your time entries from there. And if none of these meet your standards, you always have the ability to create your advanced search reports that would give you the information that you're needing. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? No? Well, if nobody else has any questions, I'm going to give you guys 14 minutes back to your lunch break. Go grab some lunch, some coffee. If you guys need anything or if you have any questions, just reach out to our support team. And as always, we thank everybody for attending NEOS AI. I mean, oh my goodness. We appreciate everybody attending. And remember to sign up. Next month, our NEOS Academy will be on AI. I was getting ahead of myself there. So if anybody has any questions, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.